Hello, I'm Dan Owen, and this is Passage Attack. Today we're going to take one verse, Romans 8:28, and we're going to dissect that verse. Now, of course, the verse cannot be divorced from its context. So first of all, we're going to do a grammatical diagram of the verse, and then we're going to come back and set the context and draw some conclusions. So let's begin. The first thing that we have in Romans 8 verse 28 is a verb. And some of you will say, well, that looks like a subject and a verb. The verb is sun erge, which means he works together. So the with or together is part of the verb. And so our verb is works together. And since it's a third person singular, it's he works together. So the he in Romans 8 verse 28 refers back to verse 26 and 27, and it's either God or the Holy Spirit. So you can say that he is God or the Holy Spirit who works things together. The verb to work together means like to stir everything together. He's working it all together, all bunch of different stuff, okay? So he works together is our verb. Now, what does God work together? Well, the text says all things. In the Greek, this is accusative. It means it's the direct object. It tells you what God works together. Everything. And in the context of Romans chapter 8, everything includes the sufferings of this present time, Romans 8:18. It includes all of those bad things that happen to us in our lives along with the good things. So he, God, or the Holy Spirit, takes all of those things, good and bad, and he works them together. Now, does that mean everything in the world? No. Let's go to the next part of this diagram, which comes off of our verb. For what does God work things together? Well, he works things together for good. God doesn't work everything together in the world for evil. God is working for good. So the words for good describe the direction of God's working. It's for good. It's not for evil, okay? Now, there is a group of people for whom God works these things together. And the first way these people are described are those who love God. Now you can take those who love God and like put a parenthesis around it, and it describes a group of people, God's people, those who are trying to serve God. So God is working all these things together. The text says to or for those who love God. So those who love God are the people in whose lives God is working all these things together for good. See? Also, this same group of people is described as the called. Now, some of your translations say to them who are called, but you need to know that the called in this verse is actually a noun. It's tois kletos in the group in the Greek, and it's not actually a verb. So with respect to whom does God work all these things together for good? To the called. And if you'll read verse 29 and 30 of Romans chapter 8, you'll say that God calls us and justifies us and glorifies us, and the called are the people who have heard the gospel call and answered the gospel call, and they are God's people, the called. And they are those who love God. So those who love God and the called are the same group of people, and it's for that group of people that God is working all these good things and bad things together for good. But finally, the most important phrase in this verse for our understanding is the last one, according to his purpose. And you'll notice that all of these things go back to that verb. According to his purpose tells us how God works all these things together for good. This doesn't mean that all these things will turn out good for you personally or for me personally, but there's one verb in the verse, that is, he works together. See, that's the verb. And there's an adverbial phrase, according to his purpose, and that tells how God works all this together for good. It's for the good of God's purpose. So what does this verse say in the final analysis? It says that all of the bad things that happen in your life and all the good things that happen in your life, God takes all those things and works them together for the good of his purpose in your life. God's purpose is the salvation of souls. That's how God works them together for good. For the good of bringing more people to Christ. For the good of influencing more souls for Him. And so this is a fantastic verse. It does not mean that everything's going to turn out good for you personally in the end, that you won't get sick, that you won't have hardship. What it does mean is, in all of our sufferings and all of our struggles in life, for those who love God, God uses all of those things for the good of His eternal purpose, for the salvation of souls. I hope you've enjoyed this passage attack. Hope you have a wonderful week. God bless.